Ever wondered how the political scenario in Bangladesh has been shaping up in the last 15 years? Let's set the stage. The realm of politics and power in Bangladesh has been a whirlwind, with threads weaving in from the Indian government. These threads have knotted up the democratic process, and the voice of the Bangladeshi people seems to have been muffled. It's a complex tapestry, filled with intrigue and power plays. To understand this fully, let's take a dive into the past. In the last 15 years, the political landscape of Bangladesh has seen some significant changes. The rise of an authoritarian regime supported by neighboring India has reshaped the country's governance in ways that have left many Bangladeshis feeling unheard and disregarded. The power shift began without the semblance of a free and fair election. Despite the persistent demands of the populace for a legitimate vote, the regime in power has consistently refused, leading to a government that many feel does not represent their interests. Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been quoted as saying, "India will never forget what I've given to them," a statement that has raised questions about the nature of the country's relationship with India. Over the last decade and a half, every bilateral arrangement between Bangladesh and India seems to heavily favor the latter. The interests and stakes of Bangladesh have often been overlooked, creating a sense of imbalance and dissatisfaction. The disregard for the democratic process continued into the elections of 2014 and 2018. The Awami League, led by Sheikh Hasina, won a majority of the seats in both elections, under circumstances that many have called into question. In 2014, the largest opposition party, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, boycotted the election, leading to an uncontested win for the Awami League. In 2018, allegations of voting irregularities, including precasting of votes and over 100% voter participation in some centers, marred the election process. The current path Bangladesh is on has drawn parallels to the history of Sikkim, raising concerns about the future of the nation. The perceived illegitimacy of the current autocratic regime has led to Bangladesh becoming increasingly isolated in the international arena. Indices for democracy, press freedom, human rights, labor rights, freedom of speech, and corruption have all shown a decline, painting a bleak picture of the country's current state. These events have led to an imbalance in Bangladesh's bilateral arrangements with India, with Bangladesh's interests often being overlooked. Fast forward to today, the situation appears to be worsening. Bangladesh is bracing itself for another one-sided election, set for January 7, 2024. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, with the help of the Indian government, is set to stage a third consecutive rigged election. A similar farce unfolded in 2014 when the Awami League, without contest, claimed 153 seats out of 300. In 2018, law enforcement and civil bureaucracy united to cast over 60% of votes the night before the election day. Absurdly, some voting centers reported over 100% voter participation. But the election is just the tip of the iceberg. Human rights violations are rampant and have been pointed out by organizations like Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. Courts are being weaponized to sentence thousands of opposition activists on trumped-up charges. The government's goons have attacked peaceful rallies and arrested key leaders of the opposition party, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, along with over 25,000 activists nationwide. The economic situation isn't any brighter. The economy is on a downward spiral, fueled by extreme levels of corruption within Hasina's family and party members. Bangladesh is falling in internationally recognized indices for democracy, press freedom, human rights, labor rights, freedom of speech, and corruption. This autocratic regime's illegitimacy is causing Bangladesh to become increasingly isolated in the global arena. But all is not lost. There is something we all can do. The main opposition party has ignited a significant movement against the authoritarian regime, with over 1 million people attending their grand rally on October 28. The regime's response, however, was to strike back with brutal force. Now, more than ever, Bangladesh needs the intervention of its Western allies. It's a nation of 20 million with a large diaspora spread across the globe. The potential consequences of letting Bangladesh descend into chaos are far-reaching, affecting not just the region but the world at large. Human rights violations, as pointed out by Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and other renowned rights groups, are rampant. Courts are being weaponized to sentence thousands of opposition activists on made-up charges. This is not the mark of a free and fair society. Spread the word, raise awareness, help Bangladesh reclaim its democracy and rule of law. The power to effect change is in our hands. Let's not stand idly by.